Hey everybody, welcome to my brand new channel, Manifest with KK. I'm KK, and today I want to be sharing with you something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And this is my first video for this channel, and I'm not really sure what to expect or how it will turn out. So bear with me since it's the very first video on this specific YouTube channel. However, today I want to be talking with you about something that I noticed because I'm a person that's really big into manifestation, intuition, having my dream life, having everything I want. And I've been following quite a bit of people for a very long time, not just on YouTube, but with books, with videos, with podcasts, you name it. So I've been following different people, different techniques, different people who provide different insights to all of this. And there was just something that I had an epiphany with, and it made me really want to start this channel because I'm a person that follows law of assumption, law of attraction, all the different laws and manifestation techniques. And I'm just a regular person who wants to share her testimony and success stories throughout my life. And there was something that I noticed in some of the patterns throughout my life that I felt like would really help people out there who maybe are struggling or maybe can resonate with my story in any way. And I'm going to be sharing different things in different videos. So today I want to talk about how I manifested my dream car back in 2011, actually. Right now it's 2025. And this was before I knew about any law of assumption, before I knew about Neville Goddard, before I knew about all these techniques that different coaches are using. And this was something that I thought, if this is what I did without knowing all of this stuff on different forums and YouTube and all of that, I wonder if I can implement it in other areas of my life. And I thought about it quite a bit, and I realized this technique or this way of manifestation really worked well for me. And so I'll go through my story and I'll go through everything so you can kind of get a sense of it. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. But right now I don't offer like any coaching. This is more of just a success story and how I did things before I even knew about all these different techniques, before I knew about Neville Goddard, before I knew of the law of assumption. This is just what I was doing as a normal everyday person who didn't have access to any of this stuff like we do in 2025. So again, this is my story of how I manifested my dream car, which ended up being a BMW 128i convertible. It was white with tan interior, and it was something that was definitely not handed to me, was definitely something that I, at the time, was like, wow, this would be like amazing. This is my dream car at the time. So at the time, I was working in hospitality. I was also a first-year student in graduate school. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, so these little details are kind of important because I don't live in LA anymore. And one of the things that I used to think about was I wanted a new car. At the time, I was driving a 1993 Honda Prelude that was white with a sunroof, and it had black interior. This is just background information, just in case you're curious. And all of that was nice when I first got the car because I loved it. It was my first car ever, and I was very proud to have just transportation, right? So when it came to wanting something more for myself, that desire, I knew about the law of attraction, and I had watched The Secret, and I had read all the books, and I started journaling and writing down things that were important to me and expressing gratitude. But what had really helped me, I believe, get the car, this BMW. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I knew that I wanted a BMW because I just loved them, and it was just what I wanted. And I knew I wanted white, and I knew I wanted tan interior, and I knew it wanted it to be a convertible. The rest of those details, I didn't care, like what model or year it was made, nothing. But I just knew I wanted a BMW, white with tan interior, convertible. And so I originally went to look at the website, South Bay BMW, and I wasn't finding anything where I was living. So I went onto the Long Beach BMW website, and I saw the car, you guys. That was my car. So I took inspired action. I didn't know it was inspired action. I had no clue what inspired action was, but I just was like, well, let me broaden my search and look at other dealerships. So Long Beach wasn't that far away. And so I just looked at what they had on offer, and lo and behold, there was the car that I was thinking about. And I was like, that is my car. Like, I knew in that moment that that was mine. Now, mind you, this was like June of 2011. And I was working in waitressing, bartending, hospitality job. So I was relying on tips, and I didn't have any support. I didn't have anyone to help me get this car initially. But I knew that that car was mine, and I looked at it every day. I was checking to see if it was still there. But again, something told me, my intuition told me that that was my car. That was going to be mine. And so I put down a date of when I would like to get this car, and I put it down on a piece of paper. I actually checked last night. I went looking for it in one of my old journals, and I couldn't find it, the page in my journal, but I knew I had written it down that I wanted it by August 15th or August 20th of that summer of 2012. So I knew I wanted it pretty quickly, and I made the intention. I didn't know I was making an intention, but I made the intention of what I wanted specifically, when I wanted it by. And then the next thing that I did without me really realizing is, I know in The Secret, she talked a lot about how you should feel like you're driving that new car. So because I had the pictures of that car that I wanted from the website, the interior, I imagined my Honda Prelude being the BMW. And I did that every time I got into the car. Every time I felt like I was driving my white BMW with tan interior, and I would open up the sunroof but pretend it was my convertible. So I was imagining myself driving that car. Now, again, I never did like affirmations or visualizations, like where I closed my eyes or anything. I would just imagine I was driving the car when I was driving the car, and I would let it be. And at the time, my credit was not amazing. You know, I was a student, I had taken on some debts, and again, I didn't really have a lot of money for a down payment, but I tried to make it work as much as possible. And so in order for me to get an auto loan, I had to ask a family member, my grandmother, who had excellent credit, and I got instantly approved for the loan. So there was, I guess you would say, my manifestation taking shape. The how was all unfolding, even though I didn't know the how initially. And a lot of people want to know the exact steps and when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And if it didn't happen by a certain date, like, oh, I'm doomed, right? And so what had happened as things were unfolding is I actually went to the dealer. I looked at the car. I inspected it around June time. And I was being told by the salesperson, like, oh, why don't you look at this type of car, that model? And I was like, no, this is the car I want. Like, don't try to tell me otherwise or sell me something else. I know that this is what I want no matter what. And he was trying to still convince me and sell me something else that I didn't want. And I kept telling him, I'm so sorry, but this is not what I want. This is the car I want. And I tried to negotiate a different price. They weren't budging. But what I did do is I watched the price on the website slowly drop. And this was a certified pre-owned car. So it was a 2011 model and 2009 model. We were in 2011, so it was only 2 years old. So I started slowly watching the price drop on the website, and I was like, okay, this car is mine, this car is mine. So I guess those were the only affirmations I was using, but I just felt like this was going to be my car. So I'm very intuitive. This became my feeling, and it helped me, I guess, convince my brain or my thought process that this was going to be my car. And every time I got in the car, I visualized that I was driving the BMW, and I would just save the money. And I got the loan approved because I had the help of my grandmother. So everything started to materialize. And you guys, eventually I ended up going back to the dealer. I put the down payment on the car, and the date that I had written was like August 15th, August 20th, and I got it within that range. And at that point, they had brought down the price a tiny bit because it was just sitting on the lot. So this video is just to kind of share with you that what I did, what I felt helped me, what I felt was going to get me from what I wanted and what I desired, and actually tangibly having it. And so I was really grateful that I did end up getting the car. I was really grateful that I was able to, I guess you'd call it, like, manifest it. And I didn't know the how. I just made an order, like, from what The Secret had taught me at the time. I made an order to the universe as if it was like ordering dinner. Like, this is the car, this is the style, this is by when, this is mine. Like, I made that decision. And Bob Proctor talks a lot about this, and so does other many manifestors. They talk about making a decision and not letting anything else tell you otherwise. And I didn't know any of this. Like, now I think back, like in 2025, like all these years later, I didn't know I was doing these things, right? I was just basing it off of like the movie and some of the books and like whatever I could find on the internet at the time. So I hope that this story just inspires you. Like, if you don't know all the steps, or if you're questioning if you're doing something right, I certainly didn't question myself. I didn't doubt myself. I just persisted, telling myself that this was my car. This is what I want. And I looked at it every day, and I made it my mission to say, I'm going to get this no matter what. And I don't know what would have happened, like if I had not done these things, like looked at the car every day or imagined myself. I don't know what the outcome would have been. Maybe I wouldn't have purchased the BMW, but I just want this success story to inspire you to maybe try these things if they sound like they will resonate with you. Visualization is not for everybody. Not everybody's able to tap into their intuition easily. They all have intuition, but you're not always able to tap into it. But for me, it was like a download. It just felt like, this is it. This is what I want. And it just made sense for me. So I hope that this story inspires you. I hope that your manifesting journey, your awareness is open to receiving this message. And I hope that you're able to get what you want, and you're able to get it in a way that makes sense for you. And all I can tell you from my personal experience in this story is, don't question it. I know I didn't get the BMW on the exact date, but I got it within like 5 days of the date I wrote down, like within a week. It was like really close. So if you're not getting it, because so many manifestors and so many coaches online, they say, get it by this date, get it within an hour, get it like, and if you don't get it by that date or time, like you feel like it didn't work. And I'm one of those people that fall into that trap sometimes, you guys, but I want to remind you that there's been many, many, many times where I did get what I wanted, and it was within a few minutes after my deadline, or within an hour, or within a few days. And I wasn't mad when I got it eventually. Like, I may have felt a little disappointment if I didn't get it exactly in that minute, but I did end up getting it eventually. So I just want this to be a gentle reminder, and I really hope and intend that your awareness is open to receiving this message whenever you find it. And I can't wait to share more of my success stories and manifestation stories with you. So thank you for manifesting with me. I'm KK, and leave a comment if this resonated with you, or drop me a like, and I would appreciate any love and support that you want to share with me. Thank you.